So, believe it or not, I actually am, in addition to being a senior leader at the university, I am a computer scientist. In fact, I'm about as old as you can get and actually have computer science degrees. So I started out in computing in the 1970s when computers mostly filled rooms. And there's just a few things I want you to think about why computing attracted me and why I think it is important. First of all, to Mary's point, we have a long way to go. The diversity in computing in many ways is actually substantially less than it was when I was a student. Almost 1 in 2 students of computing when I was a student were in fact women. And we've lost ground in the intervening 40 years. So there are a bunch of things we have to do. But I'll tell you why computing attracted me. And the first and most important reason may surprise you. Computing is an art form. You mostly think we're here in an engineering building, you think of it as a STEM discipline, but I would argue it is an art form. Because what we do is we create things from the most malleable possible medium. And that's pure thought stuff, ideas. We can make our own rules, we can build our own worlds, and we can bring things to life. For me, it was discovering that the mathematics I learned could live and move and breathe in the machine in ways that brought the equations to life. But more than that, it really is a creative medium. And anyone who has written code of any kind knows that there are artists among us. People, when you look at their code, the word that you think of is beauty, because it is creative, it's innovative, and it reflects the creative process that really drives all of us. The other thing that I think is attractive about computing is the way it lets people connect mind to mind. I'm going to tell you an old story. Most of you have never known a world in which you could not talk to people on the other side of the planet for free for hours on end. It didn't used to be that way, and computing is a lot of the reason why. I spent 20 years at the University of Illinois, and one of my old friends, most of my friends are old now, so that is literally true, was Ray Ozzie. Ray created one of the first computer collaboration systems, and a lot of what we knew as early spreadsheet technology. But there was a big project at Illinois that supported computer-based education and collaboration. So Ray was a typical undergraduate. He worked a lot of night hours, and he said he worked with someone who, as I said a moment ago, wrote the kind of code that you would describe as beautiful. But this person, and he knew this because they had chat rooms, was the worst typist he had ever seen, that would make Hunt and Peck look like fast and accurate. And he never met the person until one day he discovered who the person was. It was a quadriplegic who was typing with a mouth tube. And he said that was the transformative experience of his life, because what he realized was via that mechanism, he could meet and interact with another person mind to mind. And that is a lot of what we're in the business of doing, is enabling people to be creative across time and space and a variety of constraints. The other reason that I think computing is attractive is if you think about mechanics, you think about levers, the other things that we use to create mechanical advantage, telescopes, microscopes, all kinds of scientific instruments, they amplify human capabilities in certain ways. Computing is a universal intellectual amplifier. It's applicable to every domain. And I've been blessed to work with people in the arts and humanities, social sciences, chemistry, physics, weather modeling, a whole variety of domains. And that's one of the things that computing lets you do. It applies everywhere. You can build bridges and partnerships across multiple domains. But the other thing that it does, and this is the last one I'll leave you with, something that Mary alluded to, it opens the world to you. I was a poor kid from the Arkansas Ozarks. I went off to university. I learned how to program in the 70s, and it changed my life. It allowed me to make friends around the world, work on projects around the world. And that's the last thing I would say. All of those things are about breaking down barriers. And so you may think of the stereotypes around computing as we're geeks. Well, we may be, some of us at least. But computing is a powerful tool that touches all of our society. Business, social commerce, health, science and engineering to be sure, but it is applicable everywhere. And if you were ever looking for a lever you could use to change the world, computing is the lever to which you should reach. So that's what computing means to me.